Good morning, students. Welcome to the subject of environmental science. We are dealing with unit number 3, that is related to environmental degradation and its management. Right? We have already checked out with most of the topics that you can see it on the slides right now. Right? All of them have been dealt in the previous lectures. Right now we are doing environmental management, under which we have already completed with the meaning of environmental management in the last session. Here we are going to take up two important areas, that is environmental linkages and environmental concerns in India. Right? These we will take up in the today's session. What we are going to do is environmental linkage. Try to divide this term into two parts, that is environmental and linkages. Environment means it is related to environment naturally, and linkages means which joins each other, that is what is known as link. Now how environment linkages are created, that we are going to see it. I sincerely wish that you should have your textbook before you, because few of the diagrams are really available there and we can relate the explanation with the same. Now as far as environment is concerned, we know that everything that surrounds us is making our environment. It may be physical in nature or it may be biotic. Right? What is physical environment? Physical environment includes everything like air, water, maybe soil. Right? Whereas biotic environment includes, bio means always related with life, it includes the living organisms that are around us. So environment in which we live is inevitable for all of us. That means without it we cannot survive. If we want to survive on the planet Earth, then we have to have the environment for us. Right? And that is why environment is such a kind of thing which is interlinked with all the spheres of life, directly or indirectly. Whether we are living, whether we are creating any economic activities, whether we are connected with the nature, somewhere or the other environment is linked. Right? And that is what we will try to understand here in this particular session. Right? Supposingly if we try to understand the linkages, then we can understand it with two different linkage. One is social environmental linkage and the other one is economic environmental linkage. Right? Social environmental linkage means apru society nu as a people of the society, and what is, how are we connected with environment, that we can see it. Right? Then we can understand that on the other side it is economics, that means that through which all those activities through which we create money or we create our living, that is known as economics. Right? There also there is a linkage with the environment. We all know this, and how we are linked with the environment, that we will try to study with the help of the diagram given in your textbook. Right? So let us see it how we are connected. But if logically if you try to understand that if we want to survive as people, right, that means if we are talking about the social environmental linkage, then how are we connected? Social means that includes people, population, society. Right? If we want to survive, how are we connected? We need to have air with us, we need to have water with us, we need to have land with us, and moreover we need the energy supply also, like sun. Right? If these four things are available in nature, then and then we can survive. So this is how social environmental linkage can be understood. On the other hand, if we are trying to understand the economic environmental linkages, that means if we want to survive, it is not only through air, water and land that we can survive. We need to even do some kind of economic activities. Those economic activities includes maybe production, trade or commerce. Again, indirectly the environment is connected with it. Then if we try to understand how, then we can understand that economic activities are all connected with the environment in one or the other ways. How we can say so? Because when we are taking up with supposingly production, right, then if we are having the production centers, maybe trade or commerce activities, then in some or the other ways we are dependent for the raw materials on environment. Right? That means all the human requirements are definitely fulfilled from the environment. So whatever different goods and commodities are produced for the consumption we get it by the various economic activities, and these commodities are produced using the basic raw materials from the environment, like it may be from any of the sources. It may be from the renewable sources, from the non-renewable sources like wood, maybe wood items, maybe the agricultural items, maybe the water that we need. Thus there is a visible interlinkage between the society, economics and environment to meet the various needs of the consumable items or non-consumable items, durable items, whatever are being produced through economic centers, and we call it economic activities. Then the basic raw materials that we get it from the environment, and that is why it is very important to maintain a kind of balance, a kind of harmony amongst the three aspects. That is, the ecology should be balanced, right? And the interdependence between the living organism and their environment economical use to sustain for long period of time. That means there has to be a proper balance between the economic activities and the environment and society. That means our activities and environment. If we try to balance this, then the whole ecology will be balanced, right, and will be able to sustain for long period of time. Now try to relate these things that I have told to you with the diagram that has been given to you. What are we doing? We are taking up with the interlinkages, environment linkages, right? Then how are we connected to environment, right? With the help of diagram, see, you can see two spheres એટલે એક અંદરનું sphere છે અને એક outer sphere છે, right? તો outer sphere જે છે એની અંદર, if you can see it, air, water, land and energy is there, right? That means they are the basic elements on which we depend and from which we get our survival. Without air nothing is possible, or our survival becomes difficult. Say air provides us with wind, it includes, that means atmosphere, it includes wind, humidity and temperature, and to survive on the planet earth, for all the living organisms require this in a direct form, right? Come to the next element, that is water. If we want to survive, water is a must. We all know that. It may be in the form of rainfall, it may be in the form of groundwaters, it may be in the form of, say, the surface water in the form of lakes or seas, or it may be any man-made system like wells or say lakes, right? That means કોઈક રીતે આપણે વોટર અને વોટરનું સ્ટોરેજ છે એ આપણે સાચવતા હોય છે, મૂકતા હોય છે, રાખતા હોય છે, એન્ડ વી ડિરેક્ટલી ડિપેન્ડ ઓન ધીસ એલિમેન્ટ ઓફ ધી environment. So that is how we are linked. I am talking about the social or population, people's linkages with the direct environment, right? If we talk about land, then land is such a kind of element again from the environment, through from which we get the soil, we get the topography, we get the use of these land cover, and it may be used for various purposes of say mining, maybe for agriculture, for any other purposes, right? And most importantly, on land we live, right? We survive. So it is very crucial element of environment in which to which we are directly related. So again, that portion is clear. Come to the outermost sphere's last element, that is energy. Energy, we get it from the sun is the renewable source of energy, right? Constantly we get energy from the sun, and it is used for various purposes, various activities in human life also. So that is the first thing. And second thing comes up fossil fuels. Fossil fuels we get through mining, we get through the different elements of the earth, right? So this is how the whole four elements are such, the sphere of the four elements are such, which tells us that how we are directly related to the natural environment, right? Now we are talking about the in the circle which is connecting the inner sphere and the outer sphere. Now if we are talking about the economic environmental linkage, that means અર્થતંત્ર અને જો એન્વાયરમેન્ટને લિંક કરવાનું હોય તો ડિરેક્ટલી ઓર ઇનડિરેક્ટલી વી કેન લિંક ઇટ, બિકોઝ ઇફ વી વોન્ટ ટુ સર્વાઈવ ડિરેક્ટલી એવરીથિંગ ફ્રોમ નેચર વી ગેટ ઇટ એન્ડ વી કન્ઝ્યુમ ઇટ ઇઝ નોટ પોસિબલ. સો ફોર ઓલ ધ ટાઈપ્સ ઓફ કન્ઝ્યુમેબલ આઇટમ્સ વી ડિપેન્ડ ઓન economics. We depend economics including what? Production, trade, commerce, etc., right? So we cannot produce everything by ourselves, and so we depend on production center. Now what these production center do to produce different types of items like consumable consumable items, eatables, maybe non-durable items, right? They depend, for their production they depend on the major raw material that they get it from the nature, and that is how these economic activities also directly or indirectly depend upon the environment. That is what we have tried to clear it out in this environmental linkages, right? So what you have to remember when we are talking about environmental linkages, we have to remember that how social environmental linkage is there, and the other linkage is economic environmental linkage, right? With the help of diagram wherever possible in the exams also, where you can reproduce the diagrams, you have to do it. જ્યાં જ્યાં તમે diagrams મૂકી શકો, ચાર્ટ ફોર્મમાં એક્સપ્લેન કરી શકો, ત્યાં ત્યાં તમારે ડેફિનેટલી એક્ઝામ્સની અંદર તમારા આન્સર શીટની અંદર you should create such kind of diagrams, you should create such kind of charts which help us, which helps the say examiner to examine your paper well. અને તમે જે depict કરવા માંગો છો, તો તમે જે કહેવા માંગો છો એ તમે વધારે સારી રીતે diagrams દ્વારા મૂકી શકો છો. So it's very important to create and to use diagrams wherever possible, right? Not necessary that whatever the textual diagrams are there, that only we use. Even in the PowerPoint presentations I have used some kind of diagrams or maybe some kind of chart. You can use the same, or you can even create your own, and you can have the more earnings of the mark, right? So that's all about the environmental linkage. We move to the next important area that we are dealing today, that is environmental concerns in India. See, environmental issues are so many in India, we know this, right? There is so many types of pollutions. It may be air pollution, water pollution, maybe garbage. Though since last few years the general public has been quite conscious about the say garbage. They are quite conscious about keeping the cleanliness, right? So in some or the other ways we have tried to control the pollution as far as the garbage dump is concerned. But even though the pollution of natural environment is a big challenge for India, right? The situation was worst between 1947 to 1995, right? But gradually India has made one of the fastest progress in the world, so we cannot deny that we have created the pollution. At the same time, it is addressing so many environmental issues, and it is not only that, it is facing the environmental issues. At the same time, it is even trying to improve the environmental qualities, and we must not forget this. See, all these you can remember it as points, right? So that whenever you want to produce it as answer, you can remember it well. So the first point is all about the type of pollution that is created, what situation we have faced between 1947 to 1995. The worst part was the worst situation was that you can mention it. Third point is all about, because we have been trying to grow fast in the world economy, we have faced many type of challenges, and those challenges has created many kind of environmental issues. But we have also tried to find out to resolve these environmental issues by improving the environmental qualities, right? Anyways, what we can do is that India has long way to go, right? Because all the challenges that environment related we face it today cannot be solved quickly, because it's a developing country, and when we are developing the production, we depend highly on production centers, right? And when we produce something, definitely there will be kind of pollution. It may be in any form, it may be air, it may be water, or it may be land pollution, but in one or the other ways pollution is created, right? And we cannot deny this. So pollution remains a major challenge, right? Environmental issues is even the primary cause of the disease, health issues, and long-term livelihood impact on India. So we have to resolve the problems. Environmental issues should be resolved, but what we are going to see is the concern, how India is concerned with the environment right now, right? The major environmental issues are listed as under, and those issues we are going to see it here. These issues are also available in your text, right? The major source of pollution in India includes the burning of fuel, right? And biomass. These has created a lot of problems. This is the primary source of energy in India, and that is why it has created a lot of pollution issue. The next comes up is there is high degradation of forest and agricultural land. This we have seen it in the land degradation earlier, right? even the resources are getting depleted. That means water, mineral, forests and rocks, whatever resources that we get it are also getting depleted. Depleted means are also increasing in quantity. The public health, there is a lot many questions related to public health. There is loss of biodiversity, and these problems are being faced by India, right? Even the ecosystem does not come back to normal. You must have studied and you must have read in the newspapers, right? We often read it in the newspaper that in one or the other places in India there is too much of fog, or there is too much of pollution created, and because of that the natural breathing has become difficult for the people. So this happens when there is rampant burning of the fuel, or maybe when we are not able to control the pollution, right? The major source of pollution in India includes that we have already seen it. There is poor management of wastage, right? Garbage and solid waste removal services, it is there, but in all the parts of India is a large country, and from east to west and north to south, all the waste management system may not be working properly, and that has created much amount of trash, garbage, right? So the local government workers in India are responsible for it, and somewhere yes, they are taking up the task to a greater extent, and they are working hard on it. But India has to have lot many steps to have the clean streets, maybe to see that all these garbage and the waste is and even the solid waste is removed properly, or is being worked out properly, right? So that is poor management, that is the next issue. Then there is lack of flood control, right? We often hear in the monsoon season that in one of the part of the country there is a drought condition, and the other part may be flooded completely, right? So there has to be a proper flood control system. Even the diversion of consumer waste into rivers should be managed, right? Even the cremation near the water sources should be controlled. All these things has to be taken care of. Next comes up is air pollution. Air pollution in India is serious issue. I told you earlier also, because of the traffic, vehicle emission, maybe burning of fuels, biomass, all these have registered a greater amount of air pollution, which somewhere needs a concern. Next comes up is even the growing scarcity of water. As I told you earlier, in some part of the country there may be a drought system, and in the other part drought condition, and in the other part the country may be, or the area may be flooded, right? So India has been blessed with perennial rivers, and perennial means non-stop, wherein you have constant water supply. Such kind of rivers are available in the country, and if they are channelized properly, they can be used for the drinking purpose, also for the agricultural and irrigation purpose also. That may actually solve the problems of scarcity of water, and many steps have already been taken to use this water for day-to-day usages and for agriculture purpose in many states of the country, right? There is one more issue that is being faced, that is falling of ground table levels. That means whatever the level of water underwater level was, as far as groundwater level is concerned, right, in India, that has depleted, right? And again, agriculture is highly dependent on irrigation because we have irregular rainfalls. So any disturbance in groundwater table level will influence the millions of people in the country. So that's also one of the issue that is being faced. Even India faces the major water pollution issues. What happens is there is a constant discharge of untreated sewage that is there in the rivers, right? Surface water is normally discharged, or is being taking the discharged of this such kind of sewage water in India, that even penetrates the groundwater, and this creates a lot problem as far as the water pollution is concerned, right? So constant water pollution problems are being faced by the country. The next is there is preservation. There is a preservation and quality of forest, biodiversity loss, soil degradation are some of the major environmental issues that are being faced by the country today. Preservation means સાચવવું, quality of forest degrade થાય છે, એને આપણે સાચવી નથી શકતા. Biodiversity loss છે, that means so many creatures are being lost, right? There is constant land and soil degradation we have seen. So these are so many issues that are being faced by the country today, right? Next is, we all know that India's population is growing very fast, and that is why there is a constant pressure on the environment, right? Because rapid urbanization has caused many problems, and there has been constant say there is built up of heavy metals and in the soil, and heavy metals are hazardous to the human life. That means there is rapid urbanization, and this causes so many consequent problems also. Again, there is a question of noise pollution or noise disturbances, because excessive noise that comes up from the day to day life, or maybe from the machines or transportation system, vehicles, aircrafts, trains, etc., creates the noise pollution and has increased the noise pollution in India to a great extent, right? Again, there is the greenhouse gas emission. Greenhouse gas emission, we have already studied earlier in this chapter that India has the third largest emitter of carbon dioxide and a major greenhouse gas as per the study in 2009. That means whatever the greenhouse gases are emitted all over the world, India stands third. That is pretty dangerous, right? And there we need to have a clear-cut concern wherein we can stop such kind of greenhouse gas emission, and we can protect the environment ultimately. And most importantly, India contributes some 5% of the human sourced carbon dioxide emission. Naturally, the population is high, and that is why whatever the emission of carbon dioxide is, that has contributed to 5% of the whole world, right? So somewhere or the other, these are the some kind of concerns, environmental concerns. They are all Indian concerns related to environment, and if these are sorted out, or if these are actually worked out, we can have the actual economic growth and social growth as well. But so many steps are taken up in the previous years that we must not forget. As an individual also, we should have our total concern and constant concern about keeping the environment clean, taking the care that the environment is protected, and whatever small deeds that we can do to protect the environment, we must continue doing it. Anyways, this is the part that we have seen today. It is the environmental linkages and the environmental concerns in India that we have checked out in this session, right? When we meet next, it will be the last part of this unit, that will be the need for sustainability, that we will see it in part 6. Till we meet next, it's a goodbye from my side. Take care of yourselves. When you study and when you and say go through this video lecture, please keep your textbooks with you, so that you can relate the topics with it, right? Till we meet next, it's a goodbye from my side. Thank you.